We are joined right now by Aline Wiratmaja, our senior business correspondent of C Today. Aline, hello.
Hi, Akhir. Good to see you again.
So yes, what's your analysis about this? And as far as we know, at the same time, we also discuss about €1 right now is equal to US dollar. I mean, is that the same occasion of the effect? What has been happening right now
Yes,
in the United States?
yes, I think so. It has something to do with the Fed fund rate. Some economists and market participants actually predict that the Fed will take more aggressive stance. Consumer price index CPI rose more than forecast in June 2022, hitting an annual pace of 9.1%. As you mentioned, it's a fresh 40-year high that may lead the Federal Reserve to potentially raise interest rates by a full percentage point this month, not 75 basis point as previously expected by market participants. Akir, the June CPI reading is also above economists' estimates for an 8.8% increase. Excluding volatile food and energy prices, the so-called core CPI increased 5.9% compared with the 5.7% estimate. Taken together, Akira, the numbers seem to counter the narrative that inflation may be peaking as the gains were based across a variety of categories. However, it's too soon to say whether inflation has peaked. Despite core inflation appears to have leveled off, Akir. However, as inflation continues to rise, it's also outstripping wage gains. This is not good for Americans. Real average hourly earnings that represent wage growth adjusted for inflation slumped 1% from May to June and are down 3.6% from June 2021. Akhir. President Joe Biden acknowledged the June CPI inflation reading was unacceptably high in his language, but he said it is out of date, quote unquote, because gasoline and crude oil prices are now below $100 per barrel, down from their highs in June. I care. The unacceptably high inflation reading could push the Federal Reserve into even a more aggressive position to restore price stability in the United States, Akir. And this has been expected by market participants. They have upped their bets on the pace of interest rate increases ahead, as we can see from the CMA Group's FedWatch tool for the July 26th, 27th Federal Open Market Committee meeting, or the FOMC meeting. Akir, a full percentage point move now has a better chance of happening compared to 75 basis point as expected before. The Fed increased its policy rates by 1.5% so far this year, yet the Fed have signaled their intent to raise rates to a level estimated about 3.5% by the end of this year, Akir. So it seems the Fed is seeking to maintain an aggressive approach to tightening monetary policy until there is evidence that monthly inflation readings are decelerating towards the Fed's 2% target, Akir. Alongside its actions to tighten monetary policy, which includes shrinking its 9 trillion US dollars balance sheet, the Fed has stepped up its rhetoric about to not only its unconditional commitment, quote unquote, to lowering inflation, but also what the Fed is willing to risk. This is important in terms of economic recovery to do so. So the Fed is willing to risk economic recovery. So much meaning in this. Financial market participants have been focused on the prospects of a recession, but the Fed officials rightly insisted that their primary focus remains inflation until they get prices under control. The Fed is focused on hitting the demand side of the equation by making borrowing more expensive for corporations and individuals, bringing down asset values and slowing economic activities are here. Well, actually, the problem is more on the supply side. Some say monetary policy can't address such challenges like supply chain bottlenecks, spikes in energy and commodity prices caused by Russia invasions of Ukraine, and Western allies' retaliatory sanctions aren't in the Fed's domains either, Akir. The risk of going too far and tipping the US economy into recession is an acceptable one for the Fed, given the low rate, low unemployment level, high inflation starting point. Regarding the recession risk, the Atlanta Federal Reserve GDP Now tracker is pointing to an annualized minus 1.2% on the 8th of July. That's the latest number. The first quarter growth down 1.5%, if we remember. So a second consecutive quarter of negative growth meets a rule of thumb definition or the technical definition for recession. We'll be updating on this. So back to you right now, Akhir, the studio.
Yes, Aline, Wiratmaja, thank you very much for your insightful and fruitful elaboration related to the issue of inflation in the United States. So the cause factors are because of the higher energy and food prices. Thank you very much, Aline, Wiratmaja.